Dr. Sarah Chen put on her new neural interface headset for the first time. Within minutes, she could browse the internet with her thoughts and control her smart home with mental commands. 6 months later, she couldn't remember how to tie her shoes without the device. Her brain had completely adapted to digital assistance for basic motor functions. Welcome to the convergence point where multiple technological revolutions are simultaneously reshaping human neurology at a pace our brains have never encountered in evolutionary history. We're not just adapting to one new technology, we're being bombarded by neural interfaces, immersive virtual reality, artificial intelligence, and biotechnology advances that are fundamentally altering how human consciousness operates. Unlike previous technological shifts that happened over generations, this revolution is occurring within single lifespans, forcing individual brains to adapt to cognitive environments they were never designed to handle. The human brain, which evolved over millions of years for physical survival in natural environments, is now struggling to maintain coherent function in digital realities that change faster than neural adaptation can occur. Today we're exploring the neurological crisis emerging as multiple technologies converge to create cognitive demands that may exceed the limits of human brain plasticity. We're approaching a threshold where the pace of technological change may outstrip the brain's ability to adapt, potentially causing widespread cognitive dysfunction across entire populations. Before we begin, we're examining research on technology and neurology, extended into speculative scenarios about future brain adaptation challenges. This content explores potential neurological risks from rapid technological change for educational purposes. It's not intended to discourage technology use or provide medical advice about brain health. For concerns about cognitive adaptation or neurological symptoms, consult qualified professionals. Human brains require approximately 10,000 hours of practice to master complex cognitive tasks. But modern technology is introducing new cognitive demands faster than the brain can develop mastery. Virtual reality, augmented reality, brain-computer interfaces, and AI assistants are all requiring simultaneous neural adaptation that may be creating a state of permanent cognitive overload. Neuroscience research shows that when brains are forced to adapt to multiple new cognitive environments simultaneously, they begin to show signs of adaptation fatigue, decreased neuroplasticity, impaired memory consolidation, and reduced ability to form stable neural pathways for any single cognitive skill. Dr. Michael Posner's research at University of Oregon revealed that attention networks in the brain become dysregulated when exposed to rapid changing technological interfaces. The constant switching between different types of digital interaction prevents the formation of stable attentional patterns, leading to what researchers term cognitive fragmentation syndrome. If this exploration into technological cognitive overload is revealing risks you hadn't considered, hit that like button. It helps YouTube understand that content examining how rapid tech advancement affects brain adaptation deserves wider reach. And if you're concerned about protecting cognitive health in an age of technological acceleration, subscribe to Future Paradox. We're investigating how the pace of change itself is becoming a threat to human mental capabilities. Virtual reality users report experiencing reality dissociation disorder after extended VR sessions, where the brain struggles to distinguish between physical and digital environments. This isn't just temporary disorientation. Brain imaging shows measurable changes in spatial processing regions that persist for hours after VR removal. Brain-computer interface early adopters demonstrate even more concerning adaptations. Their brains begin to reorganize around digital input-output channels, often at the expense of traditional sensory processing. Users report difficulty with tasks that don't involve technological mediation, suggesting the brain is sacrificing natural capabilities to accommodate artificial ones. The convergence effect amplifies these individual adaptations. People using multiple technologies simultaneously, VR gaming while receiving neural interface notifications, and AI-assisted communication, show brain activity patterns that researchers describe as neurologically incoherent, with different brain regions attempting to adapt to incompatible technological demands. Sleep studies reveal that individuals exposed to multiple emerging technologies experience disrupted neural consolidation during rest. The brain, instead of processing and integrating daily experiences during sleep, appears to be struggling with conflicting adaptation demands that prevent normal memory and learning consolidation. Human brains have finite information processing capacity, estimated at approximately 11 million bits per second of sensory input, but conscious awareness can only process about 40 bits per second. Modern technology is pushing these limits by introducing information streams that exceed evolutionary brain architecture. Augmented reality overlays create what neuroscientists call perceptual bandwidth competition, where digital information competes with natural sensory input for limited conscious processing capacity. Users report feeling mentally exhausted after brief AR sessions as their brains struggle to integrate conflicting sensory streams. Multi-screen environments, common in modern work and entertainment, force the brain to rapidly switch attention between information sources faster than attention networks can efficiently handle. This creates a state of continuous partial attention that researchers link to decreased cognitive performance and increased stress hormone production. Brain-computer interfaces introduce an entirely new category of information processing that bypasses natural sensory channels. The brain must develop new neural pathways to handle direct digital input, often cannibalizing existing neural resources and reducing capacity for traditional cognitive functions. Dr. Earl Miller's research at MIT demonstrates that multitasking between technological interfaces creates attention residue. Each technology switch leaves behind neural activation that interferes with subsequent cognitive tasks. With multiple technologies demanding simultaneous attention, this residue accumulates to levels that significantly impair cognitive function. The bandwidth crisis becomes critical when considering that each new technology requires dedicated neural resources for mastery. As people adopt more technological interfaces, they may be fragmenting their cognitive capacity beyond sustainable limits. Memory researchers observe that individuals heavily engaged with multiple technologies show decreased ability to form deep, stable memories. The constant cognitive switching prevents the focused attention necessary for memory consolidation, potentially leading to what some term technological amnesia syndrome. Human brains evolved over millions of years to handle specific environmental challenges, tracking prey, avoiding predators, navigating natural landscapes, and maintaining social relationships in small groups. Nothing in evolutionary history prepared neural architecture for the cognitive demands of modern technology convergence. The visual processing system, optimized for three-dimensional natural environments, struggles with the flat screens, augmented overlays, and virtual worlds that now dominate daily experience. Extended exposure to non-natural visual environments appears to be causing measurable changes in visual cortex organization. Social cognition networks designed for face-to-face interaction in small groups become dysregulated when forced to process digital social environments with hundreds or thousands of simultaneous social connections. This mismatch may explain rising rates of social anxiety and relationship dysfunction in technologically saturated populations. Motor control systems, evolved for physical manipulation of natural objects, are being rewired to control digital interfaces through gestures, eye movements, and neural signals. This technological motor learning appears to interfere with traditional physical coordination, with some users reporting decreased fine motor skills for non-technological tasks. The dopamine reward system, calibrated for natural rewards like food, social connection, and physical achievement, becomes dysregulated when exposed to the artificial reward structures built into technological interfaces. This can lead to compulsive technology use and decreased motivation for natural rewards. Stress response systems designed for acute physical threats remain chronically activated by technological stressors like information overload, constant connectivity, and rapid interface changes. This chronic activation appears to be causing measurable structural changes in stress response brain regions. Circadian rhythm regulation, dependent on natural light cycles and physical activity patterns, becomes disrupted by the artificial lighting, irregular schedules, and sedentary behavior associated with intensive technology use. This disruption affects every aspect of brain function, from memory consolidation to emotional regulation. The most concerning consequence of rapid technological adaptation is cognitive fragmentation, the brain's inability to maintain coherent, integrated cognitive function when faced with too many simultaneous adaptation demands. Users report feeling like their minds are scattered or broken into pieces when trying to function without technological assistance. Brain imaging studies show that individuals heavily engaged with multiple technologies develop what researchers term modular cognitive architecture, brain regions that function independently rather than as integrated networks. This fragmentation improves technological task performance but appears to impair complex reasoning and creative thinking. Attention studies reveal that people adapted to multiple technological interfaces lose the ability to maintain sustained focus on single tasks for extended periods. Their brains become optimized for rapid task switching rather than deep cognitive engagement, fundamentally altering the nature of human thinking. Memory systems show similar fragmentation, with technological users developing specialized memory patterns for different digital interfaces while losing general memory capabilities. People report being able to remember complex technological procedures, but forgetting basic information like names, dates, or personal experiences. Language processing becomes compartmentalized with different communication technologies, text, voice, video, neural interface, requiring separate linguistic processing systems. This fragmentation may explain difficulties some users experience with traditional written or spoken communication. Executive function, the brain's ability to plan, organize, and control cognitive resources, appears particularly vulnerable to technological fragmentation. Users report difficulty making decisions, controlling impulses, or organizing thoughts when not aided by technological systems. Attempts to reverse technological cognitive adaptation face significant neurological barriers. The brain changes associated with intensive technology use appear to create permanent alterations in neural architecture that resist modification even after technology reduction or elimination. Digital detox programs show limited success in restoring pre-technological cognitive patterns. While some users experience temporary improvements in focus and memory, brain imaging suggests that fundamental neural reorganization persists long after technology removal. Cognitive rehabilitation for technology-induced brain changes requires intensive, prolonged intervention that most individuals find impractical in technology-saturated environments. The ubiquity of technological interfaces makes sustained cognitive recovery nearly impossible in modern society. Age appears to be a critical factor in recovery potential. Individuals who extensively used emerging technologies before age 25 show more persistent cognitive changes, suggesting that technological adaptation during brain development creates more permanent neural alterations. The social isolation associated with reduced technology use creates additional barriers to cognitive recovery. Individuals attempting to limit technological engagement often find themselves excluded from social, professional, and educational activities that require technological participation. Some researchers propose cognitive sovereignty approaches, deliberately limiting technological exposure and maintaining traditional cognitive practices. However, these approaches may become impractical as society becomes increasingly dependent on technological interfaces for basic functions. The question isn't whether individual technologies are beneficial or harmful. Many clearly provide valuable capabilities. The question is whether human brains can successfully adapt to the simultaneous convergence of multiple revolutionary technologies without experiencing fundamental cognitive dysfunction. We may be approaching a neurological tipping point where the pace of technological change exceeds the brain's evolutionary capacity for adaptation. Unlike previous technological revolutions that occurred over generations, this convergence is demanding immediate neural reorganization that may be beyond human cognitive limits. Perhaps the most concerning aspect is that these changes are happening invisibly and gradually. People don't notice their cognitive capabilities fragmenting until they attempt complex thinking tasks and discover their brains can no longer maintain coherent, sustained mental function without technological assistance. What do you think? Have you noticed your brain feeling scattered or fragmented when using multiple technologies? And here's what I really want to know. Can you still spend hours reading a book, writing by hand, or having deep conversations without feeling restless for digital stimulation? Share your honest experience in the comments. This affects everyone living through this technological convergence. If this made you reconsider the pace of technological adoption in your life, subscribe for more investigations into how rapid technological change affects human cognitive capabilities. And hit that like button if you believe understanding these neurological risks is crucial for navigating the next phase of human technology interaction. Until next time, remember, your brain is trying its best to keep up with a world that's changing faster than evolution intended. What we explored today examines real research on technology and cognition, but extends current findings into speculative scenarios about rapid technological convergence. This content encourages reflection on technology use and cognitive health, not avoidance of beneficial technological tools. For concerns about cognitive changes or technology-related symptoms, consult qualified professionals